So, you as a dealership decide buy-in is a choice of your employees, right? Wrong. That's a bad choice. So why is it? These are some actual comments from dealerships where I went in and did an analysis of their service and parts business, talked to them about training, and this is what a dealer said: Ken, my managers don't see the need for training. That particular dealer was averaging 53% tech productivity and only had a 25% parts margin. Another one that I heard was, well, Ken, I can't afford the cost of training. He's losing $10,000 a month with no training. If he spent money on training, do you think it would be worse or better? I guarantee it'd be better. A few more examples. We're going to tweak a few things first and train ourselves. I got a true story to tell you about this. It's about an auto dealer, but I've run across the same thing in service. So I was out at NADA. We also do NADA on the auto side. This has been, it was last year. I had a dealer walk up to me and says, hey Ken, he said, I'm so-and-so from this dealership. And he says, you guys are training my store. You've been in my store for 7 months. I recognized him, and he's got a good size store. And I says, oh yeah? I says, well, how's it going so far? He goes, it's going great. And I says, good, really glad to hear that. He says, you know what though? He says, I got an interesting calculation that I made. And I go, what's your calculation? He goes, I calculated what it cost me every month that we didn't have you in our store. And I go, well, what do you mean by that? He goes, well, one of your sales reps came out, did the analysis of my store, gave me the pitch, and he says, I talked to my management team about hiring DealerPRO, and my management team says, you know, that's pretty expensive to hire those guys. We can do this on our own, and although we might not get as much improvement, we aren't paying anybody for it, so we're gonna come out ahead. And he says, I let them talk me into it. He goes, 6 months later, all of our numbers were still the same. So he says, I did the math. He said, we had it, and I don't remember the exact number. I remember what he told me then. So what's 47 grand times 6 months? Whatever that is. Anyway, he said that I did the math. He says, we lost $47,000 in gross every month we didn't have you in our store. And it's a big store. He's got 25-ish technicians, something like that. But it's pretty interesting, you know. And I'm not sitting here saying you got to hire us. I'm saying you got to train. So do the training. You know, you can train yourself. If you can't train yourself, find some other avenues to do it. But you ultimately got to get it done. This particular dealer was booked out over 2 weeks with 49% productivity and a manager with no experience. But he's going to train themselves. We're not ready for training yet. Dealers losing $50,000 a month in gross per month due to a 54% tech productivity and a 3-week backlog on business. So let's talk about buy-in.